There's been sort of a big problem with Xbox recently. It hasn't been getting some games that, the PlayStation 5 has been getting and things like that. And there's been sort of scuttlebutt about a rumor as to why exactly that is. And now it looks like that could be something that is going to be fixed before too long, which would be, I think, really fantastic news for Xbox fans that are kind of looking for, the same kind of parity situation and playing these games. Like for me personally, it's always kind of sad when you see some of this stuff skip Xbox for no real reason, to be honest with you. Like, honestly, you can't really fathom why some of these things decide to just go, oh, yeah, we're not going to be on Xbox this time, but hopefully this kind of fixes that major problem. I mean, obviously, there could be more problems in the future with this type of situation, given the fact that, maybe Xbox isn't going to sell well enough to warrant having some of these games and things like that. But we'll see how it works out. I have hope that Microsoft might be too big of a company for major developers to skip out or skip over. So, but anyway, this was I thought a very interesting article. We saw this. It's a brand new story. You usually don't get stories like this breaking like this, but anyway, Microsoft is reportedly working with Capcom to fix the MT framework issues on Xbox itself. So Microsoft is reportedly working with Capcom because of the framework issues on the Xbox consoles. This comes from Jez Gordon, who talked about the fighting game community and how passionate it is. He also mentioned that Microsoft basically just let it all go, starting with Street Fighter V. He then brought up the ongoing issues with the MT framework used for Capcom games on Xbox consoles. Based on what he's been told, this has led the publisher to just skipping the platform in several cases due to technologically related reasons, unfortunately. So, yeah. However, he also has been told that Microsoft is actively working alongside Capcom to fix the MT framework issues. He believes Microsoft has identified that not having Capcom's back catalog present on Xbox as a result of this reason is not a great look for the platform, and that it is now looking to work through it and figure it out. He brought up that Monster Hunter Stories as one of the games that skipped Xbox due to some technological issues he talked about. Perhaps Capcom will eventually port it to back catalog to Xbox through this collaboration. Who knows, maybe, but especially since it can add further value to Game Pass, only time will tell. However, so there's been quite a few of these Capcom games that have skipped Xbox completely, and gamers are kind of fickle, and so they say, hey, what's the point of Xbox or whatever if they're just going to keep skipping the platform. And I know that there was a lot of people that tried to kind of damage control this or whatever, but for me, it just never made sense to damage control it. Like, hey, these games should be coming to Xbox. If there's some kind of issue, like if Microsoft was laxed on this MT framework stuff, then they should be able to go out there and make sure that people can fix the wrong. You know what I mean? Like, we need these games on Xbox just as much as every other platform. It keeps things even keel, and it helps the competition aspect as well. So, to me, that's always just like one of the main things that kind of, when I look at this stuff and I go, okay, well, how can Xbox improve their their standing with people? And I think that's probably the main way that they can do that. You got to be able to get the games out on your platform. So, hopefully this will be able to kind of do that. At the end of the day, a lot of people kind of are, a little bit upset of some of these games. But when you look at it, sometimes, this stuff kind of happens or whatever, and people complain about it. But if you want to think about it, Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection skipping Xbox, it was kind of crazy, to me anyway. A lot of people were kind of, upset about this after doing some, like I said, development. It seems there's some answers why the Marvel collection was skipping Xbox Series X and S, and as well as Xbox One. Capcom began creating their own compilations in-house around 2017 or 2018, according to this, with the likes of Capcom Beat 'em Up bundle with Mega Man X Legacy Collections. They built titles on MT Framework, but MT Framework dates all the way back to Dead Rising and Lost Planet, where it'd be the proprietary game engine for Capcom to use throughout the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 era. So that explains it a little bit. So until it slowly stopped being used for new titles in 2015 for the most part, besides like Monster Hunter Worlds, which was like an upgraded version. So while we don't have direct confirmation yet, the Marvel vs. Capcom collection also uses MT Framework. It appears to be built on the same skeleton as the Capcom Fighting Collection from 2022, which makes it by far the most likely candidate. The problem with that is, however, MT Framework does not officially support PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X or S. So that's why like a lot of these games aren't even really technically on the PlayStation 5 either, but they come to the PS4 and it's backwards compatible. So that's why that's able to kind of work the way that it is, and it kind of able to have support for PlayStation but not Xbox, because Xbox One didn't really support that. So that's a real big problem. That's why the Capcom Fighting Collection, the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, also didn't have new gen versions. Capcom has moved to using the Resident Evil engine in their new original titles since Resident Evil 7, so they don't seem too keen on going back to putting in the extra work on their engine from 2 generations ago that's 20 years old. That also applies to Marvel 2, except for PS5 owners can still buy and play it through the PS4 version. But the Capcom Fighting Collection had an Xbox One port, so why doesn't Marvel get one? So at first, people thought that Microsoft changed their policy in the past year or two to make developers release Xbox Series X and S versions of games and not solely on Xbox One. After talking to a few people, according to this anyway, that doesn't seem to be the case. Microsoft will still let devs release Xbox One games without official series versions, although policy dictates they should still optimize for newer consoles. This also has to do with the MT Framework stuff. Porting older MT Framework titles to Xbox modern systems just didn't work out. Obviously, it doesn't mean that Capcom is abandoning an Xbox, because they have put some of the newer stuff on there. But at the same time, it was very frustrating to see that Xbox gamers weren't going to be able to play some of these games. It's kind of weird to me anyway that Microsoft wouldn't work with them to kind of get it working anyway. But another Capcom title that didn't find its way to Xbox is the Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection, which was a couple of years ago. There was a Mega Man enthusiast who had reached out to Capcom regarding the matter. In response, the publisher stated that it could not comment on business decisions, and the company continued to maintain its stance last year, as it had sent out an official survey for feedback with no attempt at gauging interest in an Xbox port. So again, obviously I think like Xbox getting skipped out on some games is going to happen regardless. I think especially when it comes to like some of the Japanese games and things like that, like that's just going to happen because Xbox has zero foothold there. So you're going to continue to see different types of situations where this happens. But I think that we need to kind of avoid Xbox having these major issues where they get skipped out on completely like this. I hope that they can continue to get releases just like PlayStation. That's what we need to see as fans, and that's what we need to expect as fans. There's no way that we should be damage controlling this stuff and going, oh well, it's not a big deal, it's only this old fighting game collection or whatever, because those games should be on Xbox as well. Like people should really be able to play pretty much anything. If it's a third-party game, it should be available on everything. And I've stuck by that stance for a very long time when it comes to games. Just in general, you have to be able to offer things that kind of makes sense. And for Xbox to not get some of these games is really, especially when you think of about Capcom, which is a pretty huge company, and the fact that Xbox was getting skipped on some of these titles is just kind of weird to me, and real shame to kind of see that happen. But hopefully things can kind of change in the future with that, and we start seeing a little bit of a situation where these games can come out day and date with each other. Like I said, third-party games make sense for them to end up on everything. So hopefully that is the case going forward, and I know a lot of people are kind of asking for that as well. So I would love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on this, though. Maybe you guys have a different opinion, but would you guys be happy to see like the Capcom fighting games and stuff, and some of these games that are held up by the engine finally make their their way to Xbox, without damage control or anything like that. Just I think it would behoove Microsoft to have all these games available, just like they're on PlayStation. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. I'm Crab Gamer Reviews, and I am Crab Gamer, of course. So please like the video, share it out if you enjoyed it. Rack 'em up. Crab Gamer out.